Hey everyone, I'm Scott Stokely and I'm here with,
Dan Kilgore.
and Dan is about to play your 25th course? No, 250th course.
No, not how about 2,500th course?
2,500th course. He's played 24.99 and he's going to play the 2,500th course with me. We're at Pat Govan's Acadia Disc Golf Course just outside of Ithaca, New York. It's a private course, absolutely stunning. Come out here to golf, and in the future, when you're watching this later on, I can't give away his plans, but there's big things going to be happening out here.
Big.
So we're going to talk to Dan a little bit about his history, a little bit about him personally, and then we're going to shoot around to golf out here. And on every single hole, I'm going to ask a question of somebody who has 2,500 courses to reference about everything that he's experienced in the disc golf world.
Right?
And then after we're done, stick around to the end. We're going to have a philosophical, heated debate. Might come to blows, but a heated debate about course design and what makes a good course. But we'll save the philosophy for later because most people just want to hear little stories from the course. Sound good?
Sounds like a winner.
All right, so just give me this like real quick. I actually had to take notes. Look at that. That's as organized as I get. I actually took notes because I didn't want to miss anything after you left and forget
cool.
to ask.
Cool.
So give me just a quick background. When did you start, and when did you start collecting courses?
Well, I found disc golf at the public library in Canton, Ohio, and then I found a magazine called Disc Sports, and then I reached out to a company in there, and I'm like, "Where's the nearest course?"
What year?
This would be '88, and they said Waterworks Park in Canton, Ohio. So I went down there with my old whammos and started playing. As you well know, back in the day, most of the tournaments were far away. We didn't have as many courses, so like we do now. So you had to travel to play courses, and then that sort of started my addiction, and then it just blew up from there. Yep.
We're going to talk more details as we go, but we want to give a nod to some of the most prolific, we call them course collectors. I mean, it really just means they love disc golf so much they wanted to experience as much new stuff as possible. But I think the first person we have to put on the list would be
Greg Hosfeld.
I would agree. I was hoping you would say that. Greg Hosfeld traveled around. He was one of the first players to tour. My definition of touring pro was that he had a second source of income, so like he's kind of in that gray area in my mind. But he traveled around. Part of his income was playing disc golf tournaments in the '80s. Also doubled as a stand-up comedian, a very good one, by the way, underrated.
Yeah.
And he was collecting courses and writing about them for Disc Golf World News.
Correct.
So.
And I would read those stories. I mean, that was the first article that when I opened up the Disc Golf World News every quarter, that's the first article I went to. I wanted to learn about his travels, and I'm a spawn of Greg. He's the original gangster of course collecting.
Yes.
And I owe a lot of gratitude for all his efforts in documenting all these courses for others to go to.
There was a period of time where Greg hadn't played more courses than anyone else in the world. Greg had played way more courses than whoever was in second place. I mean, it wasn't even close.
Right.
It was Greg's world for many, many years. But a kid by the name of Ben Calhoun came out of Michigan. And Ben did it a little bit differently. Ben saved up a bunch of money, got in a car, got his course directory, and started hitting courses. And he started traveling around the country and bagging courses and keeping a record of it. And next thing you know, he started approaching his 1,000th course right around the same time as Greg. And they connected, and forgive me if I get the story wrong, I try to get the history right, but I believe Ben was at course 999 and Greg was a couple courses away or something like that. But Ben said, well, look, we should just play it together. I mean, you don't lose anything by us both being the first to 1,000 courses. Why should one of us get it? So Ben hung out at, I think, W.R. Jackson. uh, in Augusta, Georgia, the PDJ course, and said, well, let's play the 1000th course there. And he had to sit there and not play the course for a couple days
Ah,
while he waited for Greg to show up, and then they played the 1000th course together. This is what's weird. You didn't know that story, and then you told me this morning, completely unsolicited, you said,
my 2000th course was at the W.R. Jackson at the International Disc Golf Center.
to the best of our knowledge, it is a complete coincidence. Now, I'm going to give a nod to somebody that hasn't played anywhere near as many courses as you. Derek Robbins in the UK has competed in 38 countries. He says 40 if you count Scotland and Wales as separate countries. I do. It's my video. So
Right.
he's played courses in 40 countries, not as prolific courses, but he's played around the world more than. Although I'm not too far off. I'm at like getting close to 30 countries, but
That's amazing.
so who are the current prolific course collectors? Like, who do we need to give a nod to that's out there pushing the boundaries, and who's number one right now?
Tim Horvath is number one. He's currently played 3,508 different courses in the world. And then Casey Cox is another one. He's from, Tim's from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Casey Cox is from Baton Rouge. Andres Carlson, he's from Sweden. Myself and
Is Avery Jenkins up there?
Avery is in my rearview mirror.
Is he really? Okay, you hear that, Avery? Although I'm gonna I hate to be the bearer,
I love you, Avery.
I hate
But,
to be the bearer of bad news, but I think Avery might outlive you.
right.
So
I hope he does.
he might pass you at some point. I mean, don't shoot
Right.
don't shoot
no,
the messenger.
No. I love. I grew up playing with the Jenkins family.
Yeah, like-
Sharon and Leroy were the people that I grew up playing with, and I knew Avery and Val before they started playing disc golf.
Yeah.
So it's really special to be in the same
Oh, for sure.
sentence and with all these people that we've been. This guy right here, means a lot to me.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. And by the way, I'm not making this video about me. I'll occasionally jump in because people do ask me these questions. Boy, I've been playing for 46 years and I've played all over the world, and I've clearly up there on the course collecting list, and I ain't even in the ballpark because I'm the guy that goes to a town that won't play any other course but the tournament course because I'm preparing for the tournament. So I've actually played less courses. There's hundreds of people out there that have played more courses than me, even though I've been started in 76. Like, so I ain't even in, that's not my, I'm in a different group. To you, what qualifies as a course? Because do you call it a course if there's 3 baskets in the ground?
As the leader at one time in course playing, a lot of people, said this and that and this and that. But before I got to 1K, I asked Greg Hosfeld what defines a course, and he goes, if it's listed, it's a course. So that's what I do. If it's listed, I'll play it.
I think that's fair. It's kind of like why, forehand is a slang term for sidearm. Will always be a slang term for sidearm because Victor Malafronte and Ken Westerfield called it a sidearm, and they get to decide, in my opinion.
Right.
I don't get to decide what it's called. I call it sidearm because they do. So I give that. I'd say whatever Greg designated is he probably set the standard.
He did.
He created the course collecting. So Greg, you're in charge. So whatever Greg says goes. But I'm not a course collector. What does my opinion matter? Do you keep score when you play courses?
I normally don't. I like to, when I'm playing courses, I like to get off the phone and just play the course and just soak up, the vibes that God created and Mother Earth gives us playing the courses. And so I do sometimes, but most of the time I don't, but I keep track of the courses played.
Well, we're going to get to it. We're going to make this mostly about the conversation, but I've learned if you don't throw in the videos, people stop watching, so we're going to throw a little bit.
This is so cool, Scott. Give me a hug.
Yeah.
I love you, brother.
I love you too, Dan. And we're going to have a great time, and I hope you all have a great time joining us. Before we begin the round, we have some special words from Dan.
I'm going to put some of Manfred Bowie's ashes here at Pat Govan's course. What is it called?
Called Acadia Disc Golf Course.
Acadia Disc Golf Course. And this is a special spot because Pat knew Manfred very well. And so it's going to bring me to tears. I'm going to put some of his ashes right here by the bell. And then
that was beautiful. Thank you.
thank you.
All right, and now we're going to get to hole one, everybody. I've got my list of questions here, and I'm going to be very specific on these questions. So when I say best, I don't mean favorite. When I say favorite, I don't mean most challenging, because those will be separate questions. What is the best disc golf course we ever played? And we'll go into a conversation later what makes it the best. But what's the best course you ever played?
The best course I ever played is no longer in the ground anymore.
Can I guess?
Yeah,
Is it Laurel Springs?
it is.
It is.
That was a treat to play that course. That was like walking on a moon with Christmas trees.
Well, there was a time there, courses, 99% of them were in multi-use places. So you threw over picnickers, and there was dogs, and there was people on bikes and playgrounds. And this is one of the very first pieces of land where we had the land to ourselves. It was all ours.
I went there 2 years in a row, and 1 year Jack White and I got there early.
Oh yeah, Jack.
And we tied flagging on the
Love
Christmas trees to let people know, or to count what row their disc went into, and how many, because hole number 1 is at an X with different ages of Christmas trees, and the basket was there. And then if you went right, say 20 rows or 20 Christmas trees, we had it flagged every 10 trees, so you can count, 2 flaggings over.
Well, no, you have to imagine. So because they're planting Christmas trees, every 5 feet by 5 feet, there's a Christmas tree of an identical height and nothing else, which means when you walk in there, it's like being in a cornfield. It's like, well, my disc landed near the corn stalk.
Right.
And then you get into a cornfield. So yeah, so you would actually, from the tee pad on this downhill hole, you'd have to count 18 rows right, 7 rows left. And if you did that, you could find your disc like that.
Right.
If you didn't, your disc was lost.
Yes.
All right, ready? Let's see. This is hole 1.
2,500, here we go.
All right.
And I'm sharing it with Scott Stokely, baby.
People asked if I was going to let him win. And I said, do you not know who I am?
I'm going to try.
I'm not going to let him win.
Sidewinder for all my fans. Woo, doggy.
Give me a putt. Hole number 2. Totally different question than the first one. What is your favorite disc golf course?
My favorite course in the world is the Miles Speck Memorial Disc Golf Course at Freelander Park in Worcester, Ohio. I donated a large sum of money for the course, and I designed it, and I got to name the course after my grandfather. And at the grand opening in 2004, I had a lot of family members, my mom, my uncle. They're no longer with me. So that course is my favorite. And now, 20 years later, there's a lot of people playing it, and it's really neat to see the seed that I planted in an area that didn't have any disc golf courses. Now it's getting regular use, and one of them is rated 111 in the world, Jack Steiner from Downton, Ohio. So, to plant that seed and see others play it, that means a lot to me. And have the course named after my grandfather means a lot to me. And to give back to the sport of disc golf means a lot to me. So that's why it's my favorite.
Love it. We're not keeping score, by the way. Do you have an order you want to throw in normally? Does it matter?
It doesn't matter. Ready golf.
Ready golf. Okay, well then you're ready. I'll be operating the camera.
I'm throwing a sidewinder.
Yep.
Basket straight ahead.
Oh yeah, so this is the hardest par three. It's through the tunnel and then to the left.
Oh, to the left.
No, so through that tunnel way up ahead.
Okay, and then to the left.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yes.
Roll, baby.
That's not too shabby. And before we get to hole number 3, we just had a debate because I was spraying this stuff all over my face, and you said you thought there was a better option, which is?
I use 4 parts rose geranium and 10 parts water, and I put it in a bottle and I shake it up. It's all natural.
All right. And what I said, and I'm going to stand by because I'm not a flip-flopper, I prefer chemicals that are illegal in most civilized countries. Because if it's if it's too dangerous for Europeans, it's definitely too dangerous for mosquitoes. And I'd use a hell of a lot more of it if Rappel would get a hold of me and pay me to rep their product. So Rappel, open offer. What's the most memorable course? And by the way, I didn't get these questions from me. I got these questions, they were crowdsourced. All the people that follow me were posting questions. I'm not listing who wrote the question because a lot of these were asked by multiple people.
My most memorable course has to be the Crystal City Underground.
Yeah,
It was. I shared the fairways with Matt Syme for my 1,000th disc golf course, and it was the only subterranean disc golf course in the world. You know, and there was 2 courses in there, and I had a bunch of friends with me, special friends with me, and Matt had his special friend with him. So we just made it a special event, and we played 999 and 1000 there.
Let me share a little bit about this course because actually it is one of the most memorable courses I've ever played. So it's an old abandoned salt mine.
PBG.
But it's a salt mine, meaning it is massive. But it's fairways that are big enough to throw through. The thing that makes this course so great is that somebody came up with the idea of turning the underground salt mines into something, but they didn't really have the money to pull it off. And they basically did it MacGyver style.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, first off, at Tournament Central, there's like a couple pinball machines, there's a beach volleyball court,
Right.
there's a bar, there's a church for weddings, and then there's a disc golf course. And the way the course is, because it's completely underground, the way it's lit is they just strung like those old, like the LED lights you get on a string where there's an LED light every 6 inches or something, and they just wrapped them around the baskets, kind of loosey-goosey.
Yeah.
But they didn't wire the caverns for it. The entire caverns are basically, there's one outlet with a cord plugged into an octopus with 8 outlets, and 8 of those are plugged in, and each of those has 8 outlets, and it's like 100-foot extension cords plugged into 100-foot extension cords for like a half a mile through the tunnels to light up a basket somewhere.
Right.
Like it's
It was epic.
It's epic. No, I mean it would be so much less fun if it was done well, and but it's special because it's if you turn off the lights, it's pitch black and dead silent.
And another thing to add, Scott, is the floor was all sand.
Yes. Oh, you were thrown off a beach.
Yeah.
Well, or salt.
A 50-degree beach, right?
Yes.
Because it was 50 degrees in the cave, pretty much.
And here's the most wild part: is that when I say dead silent, it's not dead silent like when it's quiet outside. I mean, it's if you haven't been in a cave, you don't understand this. If you've been in a cave, you do. It is dead silent to where you hear your heartbeat, you hear everything going on in your head. But when you walk down the fairway of a hole, you can hear a disc fly by.
Right.
And you actually hear a disc coming your way. And you can hear a disc flying through the air from 200 feet away. And you hear, this is what you hear. It oscillates. And it makes a noticeable sound, which I don't care how quiet it is outside, you can't hear the disc do that.
I grew up in Jeff County before my parents split up, and then the cave was an old PPG salt mine, and my stepfather retired from PPG, so there was a lot of irony with that course.
Yeah, and you can't play the course now because, as with sometimes mines, they hit groundwater and or something, and
It flooded out.
It flooded.
And I hear that he's trying to bring it back. So
For real?
Let's hope that he brings it back. Yeah.
That would be amazing. All right, but it's. Hold on, let me see if I can do this. Does that help? I don't. Kinda. It worked. Oh my God! I did photo editing almost for a second. All right.
Right down the pipe.
All right. Oh God, I can't. I'm so stiff. I got lucky. It's safe. What's the most challenging course you ever played? I want you to give me 2 courses. I want to know the most challenging as far as flat out most difficult, like a pro tour course versus a city park course. You know, Northwoods Black is more challenging. But I also want to ask the second one, most challenging, which doesn't mean like good challenging course. Maybe the course that's like up to here in Brambles, or a course where there's like no tee pads or baskets.
Right.
Like just the most challenging to actually to play.
I think the hardest courses are the ones that are not kept, because you have to find the path to the basket, and like you just said, the fairway could be a foot wide, and I gotta throw my disc and find the disc and play the hole out. You know, so that's the most challenging type of courses.
My audience needs a name though. Give me one.
That's a stumper. I might revert back to that after I think of it, but I try to put those courses out of my head because they're just so unforgettable.
Well, basically, we'll lump them into a category called UGG. But then the first question was, what's the most challenging course that isn't because of that? The most challenging course simply because the holes are long, the fairways are narrow, there's a lot of OB.
The hardest course that I ever played, that was just so much fun, was probably the toboggan course.
There you go.
That was a bomb. I mean, I can't throw far. I throw about 200, 225 feet, and to play that course is very humbling.
I heard that with the AM tournaments, they don't even play with the OB. Like
wow.
with OB, it's absurd. It's wonderful, but absurd. You can see the basket.
Yep.
And there's Amanda. You can't throw the big sidearm hyzer around the
What?
kids.
That's what I was going to throw.
I know. All right, you have to throw through the tunnel. Not bad. That wasn't bad. You're looking at it. Oh, that's an UGG drive. Hole number 5. What is your bucket list course? What's the course you have to hit before you go play disc golf in the sky?
I owe a lot of gratitude to you with your travel, Scott, and that's the course in Australia that's in a volcano caldera. How cool would that be?
Mount Gambier in southern. Yeah, first off, great community, great town. Yeah, you're literally in the caldera of a volcano. It actually looks a lot like this. It's beautiful and lush, but you're surrounded on all sides by a wall, and you realize you are like you're in a volcano. It's no, Mount Gambier is special. No, that's a good one. Plus, you get to go to Australia.
Right? Eh?
Eh? Yep. No, that's
Canada.
Yeah.
What do they say over there, mate?
Australia is a mate. All right, there's the hole. By the way, it's far through that tunnel. Oh, you did it. That's a perfect shot. Fantastic. Nice. All right, I'm going to go and throw a backhand because why not?
What a snap.
Holy cow, that's going in the hole.
Oh!
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
If I had aced this one on video, that would have been so good. They locally they call this a par 4. You know, it's kind of a par 3, but that was really close. All right. You were saying?
If this is the last course I ever play, I'm glad I'm sharing the fairways with you, Scott. I love you. Bless you.
Oh my God, I'm allergic to emotions. How about that one first?
Yeah, I like that.
Oh man,
good
I'm
comeback.
like, oh man, yeah, I had my coffee today. You get my A game. Hole number 6. What's the craziest thing you've ever seen on a course?
Oh man, I've seen so much, Scott. But I think the craziest thing I ever saw was there's a series of ponds in Canton, Ohio, that they've cleaned them up here recently. They got water fountains and stuff, but back in the day, they were stagnant, dead fish on top. And Diver Dave, he's our local diver, and he doesn't return discs. But anyhow, he had his wife, who was like 8 months pregnant, in that pond that I wouldn't stick my hand into. She was in there looking for discs, and I'm like, that's got to be the most bizarre thing I've ever seen.
I want to jump in with one just
Yeah,
because
yeah,
this isn't can you top this, but
right.
when I got back into the sport in 2014, I moved to the only place I could afford in Denver, which was kind of in the hood. And there was a course called Paco Sanchez, which sounds like a course from the hood, right? It's Paco Sanchez disc
Right.
golf course. And they're like, oh man, you don't go there alone. It's Paco Sanchez. Well, the first time I went out there, I went out to league night. My very first time at Paco Sanchez, I saw somebody get arrested on the course during the round. A couple holes later, I saw a car full of gangbangers driving down the middle of a fairway, bouncing in the car, and they're like flashing gang signs at us. They were smiling, they weren't being scary, but they were flashing gang signs at us as they were driving down the fairway. And then we come around the corner and we see a young couple, I would assume married, because they were doing the special mommy daddy hug.
Right.
And this
Yeah.
is like 6 holes into my return. I'm like, this is my home course, baby. Paco Sanchez.
Nice.
So yeah,
I'm gonna have to play that sometime. Thanks for letting me know about it.
Yeah, bring go with friends.
Hole 6. Hole 6.
Yep, yo. Flash your hole 6 gang sign.
I don't know any gang signs.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm glad.
Yo, and subos. Look at this, you did it. That's a great shot.
Boom!
Yeah, there you go.
Did you hear that sonic boom, people?
That's a putt. That was really good.
Thank you. That means a lot coming from you. Oh, almost back-to-back aces.
That would have been so cool. I get more excited over, like, when I get an ace, I'm like, I don't even react.
Right.
But like, I get all excited over like missed aces. Then when it goes in, I'm like, oh, it's just luck. It's just, aces are luck. Oh, come on. Yes!
Yeah!
First take.
Juju!
That was the Juju from Ching Discs, by the way. Cheap plug. And that was not, we were not doing multiple takes. That was absolutely a birdie. He doesn't do multiple takes on this.
How far was that, buddy?
I would say quarter mile.
Yeah.
Haha, good job. Okay, this is one I'm actually excited about. Any interesting wildlife encounters? And humans don't count.
Right. I've seen pretty much everything. I've had llamas follow me on a course
Where?
in Bryan, Indiana,
Okay.
on a llama farm. I've had, I've seen gators, of course, in Florida.
Sure.
I've seen, I skipped a hole at a course in Louisiana because the rattlesnake nest was under it, and I was playing with locals, and here I says, "Where's those rattlesnakes at?" And they're like, "Right under the basket." I'm like, "Are we playing that basket?" They're like, "No," and I'm like, "Okay, I'm good with that."
I would think people in Louisiana, that seems like the type of thing where they'd be like, well, they're just snakes.
Right.
Like Matty O would have played it.
Right.
And he's from Alabama, and
Right.
he wouldn't have skipped it.
I've seen moose. I've come across a corner in Alaska, and there was a moose. His antlers were
Moose are
the size
dangerous.
of a door.
They're more dangerous
Right.
than bears.
Oh yeah, but the scariest encounter was in Troy, Montana, at Timber Beast course, which is like, I don't know, 30 miles from the Alberta-Montana border, and it was a nice hot day, and I was right by the river, hole number 3, and I put my hand in the river, and I'm like, oh, that's ice cold. And so I just laid in the river for a little bit, got up, and I was getting ready to throw my shot, and a black bear come out of nowhere,
For real?
and it was big. And every time I tell the story, I can recall the sound of its claws, of him being afraid of me because I made myself real big, what you're supposed to do. And so he was trying to climb up a tree and he couldn't, then got down and then started walking away. I'm like, hey, wait a second, come back. Let me take a picture of you. That was the scariest encounter with a wild animal.
That's amazing. Hole 7, you definitely got the birdie. You get to go first here. See the basket? It's a juju hole.
Wow.
That looks like that was really close to going in. That was a great shot. Back-to-back birdies. All right, here we go. Got it, that's in. Please go in. Please. Oh, it's just a tiny bit. I'm so cool.
Good shot with that juju.
I'm gonna ace before the round's over. Okay, we're about to get deep here. Be prepared. Why the hell do you play so many courses, Dan?
I play for the men and women that never came home. I know how fragile life is from my time in the Navy. I was in Beirut, Lebanon, when 241 Marines were killed on October 23rd, 1983. And that was my 9/11 before 9/11. And I saw stuff that I wouldn't wish anybody to see. And I carry that with me. And then my buddy, Jesse Booty, all he wanted to do was be a Canton police officer, a disc golfer, and a dad. And he died in Iraq fighting for our freedoms. Like yesterday, I walked 11 miles and played 8 courses leading up to this course so I could be 2,500 with you, Scott. So I grinded it out yesterday for them. They give me the reason. So thank you for those are the heroes. So that's why I play all those courses.
Appreciate that. You know, I tell people all the time, and I think, in my opinion, why you do stuff is the why is irrelevant. I think the important thing for happiness is to find at least a thing. By the way, it can be your thing could be your children. It doesn't have to be global or
Right.
But find that thing that does it for you, and it gives everything you do more meaning.
The last hole I got a birdie on, and every time I get a birdie, I say the names of special people that are no longer with me. Jesse, Manfred, Mom, Alan, my stepfather, Leroy Jenkins, Dave, Eric, and Eggie, dear friends and my cousin.
And by the way, before you start thinking I'm like this nice softie, I don't want to give the wrong impression. I just want to point out that if you don't birdie this hole, think of all the people you'll be letting down.
You right? You're up.
I'm not. No, you birdied the last 2 holes.
Well, I know, but
You birdied the last 2 holes.
we're playing ready golf, and
Okay, I'm
and
ready.
since you put that
All right.
juice on me, I want to see you
Okay.
put it near
I put not the juice. You mispronounced juju.
the juju.
By the way, we're playing a lot of juju today because juju is like Stokely discs are amazing, and I throw them and I putt with them, and but this just seems like more of like a juju spirit type round because jujus are magic, and this is a lot about the spirit of the game. As good as they are,
They are.
it's a lot about fun. So you see the target? It's right up. That's actually not great, but I
Nice
think
shot, Scott.
you could do better. I have a feeling you're going to do better than that. It's a lefty hole.
They always say lefty holes when it's lefty hole.
Yes.
Why do they never say, oh, it's a righty hole?
No.
I think it's funny.
And that looks like 3 birdies in a row, folks.